honestly, I think people are sort of setting up the buffet table with the injuries you guys have at wide receiver, a trading of a left tackle. Now, I'm hearing that on your update there from, recently while I was on hold. I mean, man, it looks like a weekend that the Eagles could potentially feast.
I love how we ask you to come on, John, to discuss the matchup on Sunday, and we are going to get to that. But now I have so many questions about Doug and what went wrong in Philly because I think.
Oh, sure. Anything you want to get into.
Yeah.
I love to chat, and General Hospital's not on until 3. So
Excellent. Well, we are at that juncture though, at 2-6. And look, this team was 2-6 2 years ago. They obviously turned it around, finished at 9-8, and went to the postseason. Now, can lightning strike twice? That's where I think people are a little afraid to play those odds. And so that is where the question has arisen, John: is Doug Pederson and Press Taylor, that combination, and the offensive scheme that they are running, that West Coast style offense, that they have now both said at times, well, we did this in 2017. We did this in 2017 and it worked. It's now 2024. And so from an offensive game planning perspective, kind of a two-parter, if you may, how have you seen the league evolve? And maybe it doesn't look like Doug and Press have evolved, or does it feel like they are the right match for Trevor Lawrence?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I said, first of all, just strangely, your quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, I saw his only high school loss as he lost to my daughter's high school. So I got to see that. So I always think of it. But I have a fondness for Trevor Lawrence. But what I would tell you is this: there is nothing that I have seen in the NFL out of Trevor Lawrence that resembles in any way, shape, or form Carson Wentz of 2017. Carson Wentz of 2017 was an MVP. He would have waltzed to the MVP if he didn't tear up his knee in their 13th game. If he doesn't have that season-ending knee injury, they're 11-2 at the time, cruising to the number 1 seed. He is a second-year quarterback, dynamic as hell. His numbers off the charts. I've never seen Trevor Lawrence even sniff looking like Carson Wentz looked. So that's a big part of it, where any comparisons between 2017 and what's going on at Jax, I don't think match. But more importantly, I think it's the idea that is the league has evolved. The league has evolved to a lot of things. And in fact, I think you're seeing the league, I'm using the word regression, but you're seeing the league move back to a lot of teams, a lot of the best teams. They will lead with a run. They will lead with a rushing attack. Look, you're going to see it on Sunday. You're going to get a great dose of Saquon Barkley, and they don't give a damn that the Jacksonville Jaguars are pretty good against the run. They don't care about that because they're going to still try to impose their will with Saquon. But so I think the league has look at teams like, you see the Baltimore Ravens. They're willing to lead with a rushing attack. San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, they're willing to lead with that rushing attack. I think the league is far different than 2017 when it was a little too pass-happy for my taste.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing an increase in the importance of the run game kind of come back, which I personally love too. I do want to talk. We're talking about Press Taylor. We can jump over to maybe his brother Zach Taylor leading the Bengals. Obviously, the Eagles coming off a big win against the Bengals, and I think one of the things, John, that's popped out to me is the end. What seemed like last year, the defense being kind of disappointing in Philly because of the year they had before. And then the start of this year, people were questioning if it was still going to be that. And I think we've started to see this resurgence of the Philly defense. So what are your thoughts on that? These last 3 games only allowing 16-3 and 17 points. So what is this defense looking like? What's been working recently?
Well, here's what's great about it is, from a Philly fan perspective, Vic Fangio came in and took over a dumpster fire defense from last year. The Eagles were 30th. In points per game last year in defense, which is atrocious. And they were in terrible condition. Sean Desai, I wouldn't hire him to lead a bachelor party to a strip club. He was terrible. I mean, he was absolutely atrocious. So they bring in Vic Fangio, old school mentality, but just an old school kind of coach. They have one of the youngest defenses right now in the NFL and an extremely young secondary. And nobody can believe how they're playing. They are dynamic. Quinyon Mitchell, the young corner, has been absolutely fantastic. He has been great. Isaiah Rodgers coming off the 1-year suspension for gambling out of Indianapolis, and last year the Eagles picked him up after the Colts cut him loose, and they literally just parked him, saying, we'll get him next year, a young corner. Obviously, Darius Slay, we don't know the full situation with Darius Slay, but I wouldn't expect him to be playing on Sunday. They have a young secondary. Cooper DeJean, wait till you see the kid out of Iowa. Wait till you see him play safety. He was absolutely amazing against Jamar Chase. One-on-one, 3 different times on Sunday, running him down and stopping him from getting to first down yardage. He stopped him, and nobody really undercuts Jamar Chase much. They are dynamic, they're young, they're tough, and it has been such a breath of fresh air. They are very, very good right now in the secondary, and that has actually helped to spur the pass rush a little bit because they can literally let guys go one-on-one against receivers. And right now, with your receiver core banged up, I would imagine you're going to see a little more of Vic Fangio unleashing the hounds on Trevor Lawrence.
As luck would have it, John, you are speaking to one of the largest
little did you know.
Cooper DeJean and Iowa fans in Jacksonville.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
by the way, what a great young man.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He is.
We love him. And the teenage girls. Oh my God!
Which is funny because if you ask CDJ, as our morning show likes to call Cooper here at 1010XL, if you ask CDJ, he probably doesn't even know the girls are after him because his favorite hobby is watching tape and looking at his playbook.
It is.
So
he's learning to cook.
Oh,
now.
I love that. There we
That's
go.
one of the things they're doing even now with some of his stuff is they're teaching him to cook because he has to take care of himself now.
Okay,
so he's not at a training table. And believe me, there are at least 500 girls in South Philly that are willing to cook for him.
I need to
do the dance of the 7 veils, if you know what I mean.
I need Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser to be they host our morning show, John, just like you do up at 97.5 The Fanatic in Philly. I need them to be listening right now. E.T., their producer, if you're driving around right now, we need to clip this. We need to let this be known because the Googans are going to feast on this. John, because go ahead. I was just saying, because our time with you is short, I do want to hit on the injury front, the offensive line for the Eagles. That appears, at least on paper, to be perhaps the one area that may be susceptible to the injury bug. Walk us through. Don't dream.
Don't dream.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, don't dream. The Eagles' the offensive line depth has been amazing. Fred Johnson coming in when Lane Johnson went down. Jordan Mailata's been out, and I expect Jordan Mailata would also miss this game. I don't expect them to put him back in there. They have not missed a beat. They are physical. They have given against the Bengals. Jalen Hurts did not have to wash his uniform on Monday. I mean, they just Febrezed that thing. They just sprayed it a couple times because he hardly broke a sweat. I mean, Shamard Moore Jr. was he looked like he was stepping into a GQ shoot right after the game because he had not been stressed in that game. So unless the Jags can find some really sort of interesting ways to get after Jalen Hurts, I'm telling you right now, I think it's going to be a long afternoon in South Philly, like really long for the Jags because the Eagles are ascending and they finally seem to have gotten some things worked out. I think it's going to be a bit of a rough ride for you guys.
Yeah, to go off that, just some numbers. The Jags are 29th in QB pressure percentage, 27th in QB sack percentage, 26th in time to pressure, and 32nd in blitz percentage. So it could be
A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Here's what I would do. You guys don't have the gambling apps. See, I have the gambling app.
Oh, no, we
here.
do. We have a couple, yeah.
Oh, you do have apps now. Okay, well then tell everybody bet the A.J. Brown overs, bet them over, and bet the Devontae Smith overs while you're at it. I mean, just go nuts a little bit because I think it's going to be a lopsided afternoon for Doug's return.
John,
I'm expecting it to be a tough day.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.